Hello, everybody. Welcome to your asynchronous week. This is the lesson for Tuesday, Wednesday, January 26th and 27th. So our objectives for the day, we are going to finish up the lesson that we started last week about the prologue. So we're going to finish that exit ticket about Morrison's purpose behind her syntax and structure. Remember, we talked about the Dick and Jane story and how the syntax gets all jumbled and run together at the end of the prologue. So we're going to do that exit ticket. And then we're going to start our next lesson, which we will be working on throughout this week, which will be to analyze how Toni Morrison structures her paragraphs in chapter 1 to create social commentary. So analysis is hard to do without being able to talk to each other. So all I expect you to do is your best, right? I don't expect genius level work this week. I just want you to do your best so that we can, review next week and really have those good conversations, right? Do the thinking pre-work so that we are ready to really talk about it next week. So speaking of next week, some important things coming up. If you are a multilingual learner, formerly known as an English language learner, you're going to be taking the access test next week. You were assigned a lesson to prepare for it Monday, January 25th of this week in the ELD Google Classroom, right? So where you would get those Albert assignments last semester, I assigned you a self-paced Nearpod in that Google Classroom. You need to do that this week. It's really, really important to get ready for that test. I know the test sucks. A lot of you have taken it a lot of times before, and I really want you to not have to take it again. So I assigned you a lesson to get ready for that test. Just a reminder on the late policy. I will grade like big assignments like exit tickets and assessments through the end of the unit. So I'll take any unit 4 exit ticket up through the end of unit 4 whenever we get there. However, classwork, since there's so much of it, there's classwork almost every day, it's like too much for me to grade when it's turned in way late. So classwork's not going to be graded after a week late. So make sure you getting your classwork in on time. Also next week, so Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we're going to be having a guided seminar discussing chapter 2 of The Bluest Eye. So come prepared to talk. Make sure you're getting your camera and microphone fixed so that you're ready to participate in that seminar. Also make sure you go get a copy of the book at school if you have not yet. Okay, so let's get ourselves set up. Make sure you complete the attendance question by 3 p.m. today of the day that you are watching this video when it is assigned to you. Go ahead and open up the Unit 4 Lesson 4 classwork. So this was the last classwork that we worked on together in class, Unit 4, Lesson 4. It has the Dick and Jane part in it. These analysis questions were what you answered for homework. So go ahead and open up that document. And the analysis questions should be done. So if you have not answered these questions, I need you to stop, take 5 minutes, answer these questions right now. You shouldn't spend any more than 5 minutes on these questions, right? These first 2 are just like what you notice. And the second 2 are quick analysis of the prologue. No more than 1 sentence per question. You're not required to write more than 1 sentence. You can if you want. Okay, I'm going to assume that you all answered those analysis questions and we are ready to move on. So I wanted to look at some exemplary analyses of that last question. What is Morrison trying to convey about the cultural norms of the 1940s in this chapter? So these are just a few answers that I thought were really insightful. So remember, we're talking about the prologue. We start out with like a normal kind of Dick and Jane paragraph, right? Here is the house. It is green and white. It has a red door, blah, 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 blah. And then as the prologue goes on, we're missing periods. So now this is all just one big long sentence. And then eventually we're missing spaces, right? So it gets very jumbled. It's confusing and harder to read for the reader. So the question was, why does she do this? What is she trying to say about, the social expectations of this time? So some really good answers. Morrison is trying to convey that the cultural norms of the 1940s do not reflect the reality and in fact hurt those who are seeing the cultural norms contradict their very being. I thought that was like a really great way of putting it, right? Like if all you're seeing is Dick and Jane, those little perfect white children in the perfect pretty house, right? And your family doesn't look like that, then the cultural norms contradict your very being. She's trying to convey that different races and different cultures have a different style of growing up and a different kind of love and affection they show to their family. I thought that was really insightful also, given what happens in chapter 1 with Claudia talking about her sickness that she goes through. And then this last one, maybe the jumbled words and lack of punctuation are to show that there are other families that look different than the standard. Maybe showing that even though one perfect family is depicted in something, it doesn't mean that the rest of the families look or act like that. I think Morrison is trying to show the cultural norms that were put into place only showed one ideal look and how it doesn't show the reality or how everyone else looked, right? So this basic idea that like she is trying to convey that the cultural norm or the societal expectation was not reality for all people, and even maybe harmful to people who do not fit that norm. So stop right now, stamp in the ed puzzle in your own words. You can't use any of those words that you just saw, right? You have to write your own words, unless this was one of your answers. Unless you were one of the people who wrote these, then you can copy it. But otherwise, I want you to stamp, what is Morrison saying about 1940s social norms, with the jumbled syntax in the prologue. So don't spend more than 2 minutes on this answer, even if that. Spend like 1 minute stamping, what is she saying about 1940s social norms in the prologue? Do that now. Okay. So we are going to move on to the exit ticket from lesson 4. So after the analysis questions, you'll see the exit ticket. This is the question. How does Morrison use structure and syntax to contrast the ideal white family values with the reality of poor Black families in the 1940s? So this is what you need in your answer. Claim that explicitly names the stylistic elements you are analyzing, so like the syntax. That's the stylistic element you're analyzing. Smoothly and logically integrates evidence of that element that you're analyzing, direct quote or paraphrase, and it explains the author's purpose behind the stylistic elements in relation to the thematic topic of the section of the book. So the thematic topic of this section of the book is 1940s cultural norms. So what is Toni Morrison's comment on those 1940s cultural norms, and how does her syntax convey that? So just before you get to the exit ticket, though, there's a couple of options for how you can answer this exit ticket. You can do a traditional literary analysis paragraph where we put the claim first, and then the evidence, and then the analysis. I wrote an example here about a different story, one of my favorite short stories. It's called A Love Story. Samantha Hunt uses the structure of short vignettes to convey how the narrator's identity is fragmented by becoming a mother. So I have my claim with the stylistic element, then I have my evidence, and then I have my analysis of why the author does this, why the author uses this kind of structure or syntax. Or if you want to get creative, this one's for you, Rain, who wants to be more creative in her analytical writing. Feel free to mix up the structure of your answer. You can start with the evidence, right? You can make it kind of like a poem, like I did here. And I'm going to put up these slides so you can see these examples, but feel free to get creative, poetic in your analysis of the prologue. I want to give you that freedom. I know that analytical writing, claim, evidence, analysis, gets old over and over again, and I will never hear the end of it from Rain about how old it's getting. So this one's for you, Rain, and anyone else who wants to be creative in your analytical writing. So go ahead and complete the exit ticket for Unit 4, Lesson 4. You should spend absolutely no more than 15 minutes on the exit ticket. I want us to up our speed a little bit in writing, like getting started right away, using our resources, using models and our answers to our analysis questions to really put something together quickly. So no more than 15 minutes. more like 10 minutes, probably. Aim for that. So go ahead and do that exit ticket right here in your classwork, and then turn in this document when you are done. Okay, go ahead and take a break for a few minutes. Stretch, get water, go to the bathroom, take care of your needs, take a break. It's a lot for one class, so I'm acknowledging that. Please take a break.